Kelly, where are you today?
I am in a cabin in Colorado, outside of Aspen, Colorado. So I spend my summer here.
It looks absolutely beautiful. You meet certain people in your life. We're connected through mutual contact in the private equity space. I'm so inspired by what you've done previously and what you're doing today, having advised, sat on boards of, or operated or made investments in over 30 different platforms. I'm just so grateful to be connected with you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a ride. This I think it's never been a more exciting time for this space. Specifically roofing, obviously, is my background, commercial and residential, but I've consulted with electrical and plumbing and different, route based companies on a national basis. So I think for all of the above, it's a really exciting time. There are a lot of owners, aging out. There's a lot of young guys finding a path, which is super exciting. And then there's private equity. Of course, there's strategic, there's the tech does out there and so forth, and private groups interested. But private equity is certainly the major player, and so I think it's really a great opportunity. It's super exciting, also very scary, probably for a lot of team members and labor forces and so forth on what change of ownership looks like and means. But I think if you make the right decision and you're knowledgeable about who you're going to get in bed with, so to speak, it can be a win-win for a lot of people today.
I did a horrible job in teeing you up. Zooming out, you started in the roofing industry with a marketing background and then quickly scaled a business and making that move from more director of marketing, chief marketing officer to now chief executive and having that experience in the roofing side. Can you just spend a minute or two kind of talking about the earliest days and scaling your first roofing platform, and then what that taught you and how you're using that today?
Just clearly the best decade of my career by far. And, certainly was figuring out my way through it. So, but it was the best decade. That was North American Roofing. I started in marketing. The head of sales had a personal issue. I jumped in and said, "Hey, I'll take over sales just while you find the replacement." I went home and thought, how in the heck do you run a national sales group? And the advice I got from my biggest mentor, my father, it was you do it your way. Just be yourself. And I went back in and carrot and stick went away. Candles and kumbaya pep talks came out and I did it my way and we set records. And so then I was obviously promoted to take over sales. That's how that happened. And then it was just one thing after the other. North American had been on an island doing a private label product. And so I started relationships with the manufacturers, really got our name out there, obviously marketing, and just kept, I didn't wait for anybody to give me anything. I saw opportunities for improvement and I just did it and asked for forgiveness later or accolades as it usually turned out. And so, that's really was the way I got, into the position I got into was just seeing opportunities for improvement and doing it, not worrying about what my title was. And that was just a great ride. Culture was the number one thing at North American. It's what drives me. It's the when I see people um, have a great day, do something they didn't think they could achieve. That is everything. Way, way bigger than the bottom line. Funny how it works when those things are happening. The bottom line works too. I took North American, to market. That was my first experience with private equity, and then have gone on to do it a couple more times. I've done I think 7 transactions, in the roofing space, and now I'm serving on a board and I advise a lot, and now I've switched to the other side, to the buy side, and I'm trying to help owners find, that right buyer. Now that I know the secret sauce, if you will, uh, on private equity, it does look for their acquisitions. So that's sort of my story in a nutshell.
From my culture perspective, I agree. If you take care of your people, the people take care of your customers, that takes care of the financial aspects. First experience operating in the private equity environment, valuations were relatively low. Like pretty affordable, and interest rates were negligible. And so when you would look at the financial engineering, you look at the models, there wasn't as much pressure in underwriting on the operators, I would say. Well, now in today's environment, everyone is so much more educated from a valuation standpoint. Now you're on the buy side, you're obviously helping people really make sure they're making great deals with great partners that make sense for what they want to accomplish today and into the future. But to me, that's put more pressure on those stakeholders. So when people can bring a Kelly Wade into the boardroom, get some advisory work, there's just so much more pressure. And you're running a sprint. You're not running a marathon today. I mean, you got to pick up the pace. And so you're seeing private equity groups, owner operators that I talk to in the blue collar space today. I get the sense there's this underlying inevitability of my children aren't going to take over the business, or I've not thought about a succession plan. And they're getting calls from private equity. Now there's a bunch of young MBAs graduating to think entrepreneurship through acquisition is all the rage. And so this underlying inevitability of everyone making the same sales pitch. But what are some frameworks that you use today to make sure that people that you're advising are making the best possible decision?
Yeah, I think that you have to look beyond the first call, but biggest thing I would say is what are you trying to accomplish? Sure, are you sticking around for a year? Are you sticking around for 2 years? Or are you out of there? And you built this business and you didn't build it alone. You built it with a team. So I hope you care about the team you're leaving behind, because you're leaving the team behind with this new ownership, and it's not going to be the way you ran the company. And so I think when you are looking to sell, don't put everybody in the same bucket, because what is going to happen after the sale is drastically different. The pitch is the same.
Yeah.
So the pitch out there is the same. And so it's really why, owners that are going to market, they need to get an advisor on their side. They really need try not to do it alone. I know there's a lot of information out there, and it's great that you can get educated on your own. But in the end, there's so many little nuances in the deal that can turn it one way or the other. Not only for you financially, what's going to go into your pocket today after your earnout, but your team. And I think the biggest difference is what happens to the teams. Because, look, what's happening is a lot of owners never in their wildest dreams thought they would make this much money. Well, private equity knows that. So they know you're going to make more money than you ever thought you're going to make. So if you're only focused on that, your team's going to get screwed. And nobody wants that. The big difference in who you choose as a partner comes down to what's going to happen to your team. And you've got to dig deeper, and you've got to talk to people who have been there, done it, to understand the nuances. Like, as an example, if the private equity firm is going to go build out a whole corporate team, it's a red flag. Let's call it a pink flag. It's a pink flag. Might not be a full red flag, but if they're building out a whole team, they're going to operate your business very differently than how you've operated. You can be assured. Now, if they're just bringing on one person, a leader, somebody in between private equity and you, that's probably a good thing. You can learn from that person, right? So there's lots of those, too many to list on this podcast, but you've got to look beyond the pitch, because all the pitches are the same. We're not going to change your business. You run the business. We're just the money guys. And it's just not true for everyone.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it is the same business pitch where everyone knows to kind of ask for the financial model, the waterfall. But to your point, it's, hey, what's the operational plan that supports this? Are you adding in a CEO, a CFO, a COO, corporate dev? Are you adding in all these areas? Or are you thinking about, are you adding in a CEO and then maybe a head of HR? Who can we promote from within? To your earlier points, how do we take care of our team? Who has a runway to kind of put them in a better position to really be successful? Because, you and I have both seen in so many of these businesses, your legacy really matters, your team really matters. sometimes the people that get you from 0 to 10, 10 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 100 and more aren't always the same people, right?
It's a great
Honest and
book.
open.
What got you here won't get you there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite books, and it's a big reality check. And look, it's why there's a big swath of owners who are putting their head in the sand, and they don't want to talk about succession because they're like, no private equity, I don't want this, but yet they have no succession plan. So that's not the way to go either. The way to go is to get knowledgeable, is to probably go to market, or, look, you can build it yourself, right? You
Yeah.
can buy it yourself or you can sell it. I mean, you have options for what it looks like. And there's never been more opportunity to take that on in any of those directions that you want.
You start with the end in mind and then you work backwards. And look, I've talked to so many people that are never private equity people. Private equity is like anything.
Yes,
There are really, really good versions of it, and there are versions of it that aren't so good. And so,
100%.
what advice would you have for an 18-year-old, say, that's considering a career in the trades? What advice would you have for that person?
Say, go start a roofing company, go start an electrical company, like now, today. We're in the first inning. I mean, the 4-year college thing. Look, I just got my MBA. I mean, I support education. I think the more educated, the better. But education today looks different, and real skills can get you to different places than they ever could before. So if I were talking to an 18-year-old kid who didn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or didn't have like the path already figured out, I would say go start a roofing company
Yeah,
all day long,
it's
all day long. Build it up. You've got the energy. Listen to your gut. Your gut's right. Don't let people put you in a box. Don't let people say you're too young or you should be on a certain timeline. Screw that. Go do it. And you can build something great and then you can flip it. I mean, we're in the first inning. We're in the first inning, kids.
I totally agree with you. And you see with the development of AI and these other tools and resources out there, it's democratizing so much of the education and everything else that it's
Totally.
learn how to turn a wrench, learn that skill, and then build the infrastructure around it. I love the fact you just got your MBA. I got my MBA in executive format as well. And being able to be in there with classmates who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, like that was so much
Yeah.
more valuable than being in a full time program with 25-year-olds that have been consultants or accountants for the last couple of years. And
We
the
would we
very,
would have just been checking the box.
how do you want people to think of Kelly Wade? What's important to you?
Wow. I think it's really simple for me. I hope that every interaction I have with anyone, whether it's for a moment, a year, a decade, whatever it is, a board meeting, I hope every interaction that I leave somebody just a little better off. Maybe I made them laugh. Maybe I made them motivated, inspired. Maybe I taught them something. I don't know. Just a little better off. I think that's really what life's about.
You check that box for me.
Yeah, it was
Your
great.
your energy is so contagious, and the fact that, hey, I want you to have a conversation with Kelly. She's gonna be the lead board director. 90 minutes later, my feedback was, no one's gonna ever be able to be in the CEO spot that's gonna do a better job than Kelly. You have so much energy. You care so deeply about people and you're genuinely interested. And you can tell when someone's having a conversation and they're just asking questions to check the box versus asking questions to really understand the person, to be able to connect with the person. And that was my experience having the conversation with you. You're very much a values driven individual, which leads me to my favorite question. What's one personal value that you live by?
There's a lot of Kellyisms out there. I've got
I
a
know,
lot of
I know.
principles. Yeah, I need to write a book. I've got a lot of principles. I think if I had to choose one, it would be no matter what you do, be all in.
Mm, I love that.
We don't do anything in this life alone, whether it's raising a family, building a community, or building a business. And if there's somebody on the team that's not all in, the castle will crumble.
I love that. What a perfect way to end.
Really,
Thanks for your
really
time,
enjoyed.
Kelly.
Thank you.
We'll stay in touch. All right. Bye.
Bye bye.